So I just seen a video of Drew picking up Stephanie. And I thought that he couldn't do anything like that because of his heart problem, some kind of made up problems that he has. I don't know. For a reason he can't work.
Okay, babe, let me break it down for you with all the messy details because this situation with Stephanie Jenkins and her man Drew, aka JE, is spiraling fast, and not in a subtle way either. You know how for the longest time, Stephanie's been all over social media talking about how Drew is too sick to work? She's painted this whole narrative that he's got a messed up back, high blood pressure, heart issues, prediabetes, and randomly threw in seizures like it was just another item on a grocery list. It was giving drama, but now it's giving straight up fiction. So recently, a video surfaced and let's just say, it basically lit the match that set the whole internet on fire. In it, JE is seen picking Stephanie up off the ground with absolutely zero struggle. Not even a grunt. He lifted her like she weighed air. No hesitation, no stiffness, no sign of back pain. Nothing. It looked like something out of a movie, and this is supposedly the same man who can't hold down a job because his back is so bad he can't even stand too long? Please. But the real kicker? That wasn't even a one-time thing. People started digging and found footage of him full-on running around a motel yard, chasing after kids, jumping down from containers like he's in some bootleg action movie, and doing it all like it's completely normal. No limping, no pain, just vibes. So of course, everyone started asking, if JE can move like that, why isn't he working? Why is Stephanie out here making excuse after excuse while he's clearly got the energy to do everything but clock in?
I thought he was supposed to have seizures and back problems. I thought y'all was trying to make a case for disability. Remember you said just about a month ago that working a job 9 to 5 would take 10 years off of your life. And within the last month, we've seen you jump over shipping containers, kick a ball around. We've seen you do ninja moves up a shipping container, jump off a shipping container. We've seen you show up to court dressed like a ninja. Now you're doing ninja moves. Don't look like somebody that has a heart problem, back problems, or seizure, sir. You don't look like somebody who's very disabled.
Then comes the whole seizure storyline, which really made people side-eye the whole thing even harder. One day out of nowhere, Stephanie said Drew had a seizure. No warning, no previous mention, just boom, seizure. She claimed they rushed him to the hospital, but here's where things really start falling apart. A real first-time seizure event would have involved serious medical follow-up, EEGs, observation, blood work, and absolutely no driving for at least 6 months. That's standard. But in Drew's case? He was in and out of the hospital like he just went in for a sore throat. No testing, no meds, no paperwork, nothing. And the very next morning? He's back behind the wheel, driving like nothing happened. Taking the kids to school, doing errands, acting completely fine.
I had a random seizure in 2021 and they told me that I could not drive a vehicle, especially with my children in it, for 3 to 6 months. Now, if you go into AI or Chat GPT or ask any doctor, they will say it's generally recommended to refrain from driving for a period of 3 to 6 months, potentially longer, depending on the circumstances and state regulation. The laws in Oregon say that he should not be driving for 3 months or maybe longer. So did he really have a seizure, or do they just not give a flying F? Because he can seize while he's driving, and he's got those precious babies in the car. And where do the other kids sit? I noticed that she had her her and the 2 kids in the back, but where were the other kids? Do she leave them somewhere, or is that why they're at school? Y'all, something is rotten in the cot. But they gonna get away with it just like they get away with everything else. Whatever.
And if that wasn't enough, he was also back on the PlayStation, yes, the PS5, with the headset on, flashing lights, loud sounds, gaming for hours. Literally everything doctors tell you to avoid after a seizure. But Drew? Unbothered. Not a single sign of recovery, because there was nothing to recover from. The whole thing started to look like a carefully timed excuse, not a medical emergency, but a cover story to dodge a court date or delay some responsibility. Classic deflection. Now here's where it gets extra spicy. Drew's own family went live and spilled every last drop of tea. His mom, his sister, and even his ex-wife jumped on a stream and said with their whole chests that Drew has never had a seizure. Not in childhood. Not in his teens. Not even once. They weren't being vague about it either, they were crystal clear. They said this man never had so much as a fainting spell. These aren't some random cousins trying to stir up mess, babe, these are people who lived with him, who know his habits, who co-parented with him.
Where do we think that Drew got the idea to have a seizure? Because you cannot convince me that Mr. 9 to PS5 didn't get that idea from like the warning at the beginning of every video game ever. Bro, nobody believes you. And Stephanie, the reason that they looked at you weird probably is because I knew a doctor. Well, they're still alive, but they're a Trump supporter anyway. They can tell usually pretty easily if somebody is like actually having a seizure or not. At least that's what she said. I don't know. But, and right after you miss court, sir.
They said all these health conditions are nothing but smoke and mirrors. Lies told to dodge child support, to stay unemployed, to keep writing this fake sick narrative like it's his meal ticket. And what does Drew do next after being exposed by his own blood? He tries to use the same seizure excuse to get out of attending his child support hearing. Like, seriously? That didn't fly with the court though, because they issued a warrant for his arrest right after. This wasn't just gossip anymore, this turned into a legal situation. The lies got so out of hand that the court had to step in. Meanwhile, Stephanie's still online trying to keep up appearances, acting like none of this is sus, like the internet hasn't already connected all the dots. But babe, the footage is out. The live stream happened. The contradictions are everywhere. At this point, the only thing Drew's suffering from is a lack of accountability. And Stephanie? She's not just enabling it, she's defending it like her life depends on it. Instead of stepping up and taking real accountability, Drew did what he always does, he deflected. The moment people started calling him out over the child support warrant, he rushed to social media and posted a supposed screenshot claiming the warrant had been revoked. But something about it immediately felt off. The formatting was strange, the language didn't match official legal documentation, and there was no seal, no signature, nothing to prove it was authentic. It looked like it had been thrown together in a hurry, more like a Canva project than an actual court document. Naturally, people weren't convinced. It didn't pass the sniff test, and the timing was way too convenient. A lot of folks started questioning whether it was just another attempt to dodge criticism and distract everyone from what's actually going on. Whether that screenshot was doctored or not, the takeaway was clear: Drew and Stephanie will do whatever it takes to shift attention away from the real issue. They'll bend the truth, craft narratives, and even pull their own families into their mess if it helps them avoid owning up to anything. And the internet? It's no longer falling for it. People are connecting the dots, noticing the patterns, and realizing that this whole act isn't about misfortune or bad luck, it's about manipulation. Let's rewind this mess to where it all really began. The whole saga kicked off with a simple, reasonable question: why doesn't Drew have a job? Stephanie's explanation has always been that he's just too sick. But over time, the list of health problems started piling up in the most suspicious way: back pain, heart issues, prediabetes, high blood pressure, seizures. It felt less like a diagnosis and more like a checklist of excuses, tossed around whenever it was convenient. But then we started seeing the reality. The videos don't lie. Drew lifting Stephanie off the ground like it was nothing. Running around outside with full energy. Playing on his PlayStation for hours with a headset, completely engaged. None of it lines up with someone too unwell to work. What it does align with is someone who's simply not interested in putting in the effort. And it's not just him, Stephanie has shown the same attitude. This isn't a young couple struggling to find their footing. These are two adults with 5 kids, all living in a cramped, noisy, unstable motel room. And while other struggling parents are picking up part-time work, delivering food, cleaning houses, anything they can do to earn something, Drew is locked into his video games like it's a full-time job. He sits there for hours, tuning everything out: the mess, the kids, the reality around him. He's completely detached from his responsibilities. Meanwhile, Stephanie stays online either venting, reading drama, or low-key begging for financial help. All while her children sit in the background, often unkempt, wearing the same clothes for days, with visible signs of neglect in their surroundings. There's trash, clutter, and no sign of a structured, safe, or clean environment. Viewers have offered actual advice, realistic, accessible solutions like looking for remote or seated jobs Drew could handle, even part-time. But every suggestion is waved off like it's just not worth their time. Then there was that moment that truly made jaws drop. In one of her live streams, Stephanie actually said she and Drew didn't want to waste 10 years of their lives working. As if putting in effort to build a better life is some kind of prison sentence. The irony is brutal, because they're already stuck in the most exhausting, stressful lifestyle imaginable, with no stability, no long-term plan, and 5 children stuck in the middle of it all. And that's what really cuts deep. It's not just about laziness. It's about selfishness disguised as doing our best. Because in reality, the only ones suffering here are the kids who didn't choose this, who deserve better, and who are being forced to grow up in an environment where comfort and convenience for the adults comes first, no matter the cost. And that cost? It's showing more and more each day. And there you have it, more lies, more distractions, and still no accountability. While Drew and Stephanie keep dodging responsibility, the internet isn't fooled anymore. The truth is out, and the kids deserve better. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates. We're keeping the receipts ready. See you in the next one.